We're joined by the first ever head coach of that football program, Brian Pratt. He resigned at Macalester to take over that program. Coach, we talked earlier this week once the board made it official on Monday. Talk a little bit about what Bentonville West is for us Oklahomans who are familiar with Bentonville High School but have no idea what I'm talking about when we say Bentonville West.
Well, obviously, Bentonville school system pretty much speaks for itself. As if you look at Max Prep, they were School of the Year last year. I think winning 12 out of 17 state championships, and they rank in the top 80 public schools in the country academically. So, obviously, it's a huge opportunity to go to a place like that where they have a lot of success and the kids understand how to win. And if you're going to build a new program, you might as well do it at a place that's going to do things right.
Now, let me ask you this, because Bentonville West is a new program, you're going to be able to put your stamp on just about everything with the new high school. How intriguing was that to your decision, and what kind of role did that play?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up, Michael. I couldn't hear you. I'm at the Southeastern spring game, and I lost you there for a second. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, Coach. We still got you. We had all that noise in the background. Hopefully, Caden's having a good spring game. For those of you who don't know, Brian Pratt's son, Caden Pratt, signed his letter.
I'm getting to be dad a little bit. I don't get to do that very often. So
that's right.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
I was just asking how intriguing it is to be able to put your stamp on this program and just about everything in every aspect, being the first head coach. How intriguing was that to your decision?
Well, that was the one thing that kind of got me going as far as wanting to do this was the opportunity to go in and hire my staff completely from the ground up to design a mascot, which we're doing right now. I mean, you got to realize when you have no tradition, you got to go make some. So everything that we're trying to do, starting 2016 will be for Bentonville West to develop some tradition and winning aspect like they have at Bentonville High. And if you're not familiar with it, the school is like literally right now in bricks and concrete and all kinds of stuff on the ground because it actually doesn't start until 2016. You get to design the weight room and the locker room and, obviously all the equipment that's going to be bought, the jerseys. So it's a really cool experience to get to do this. Not many coaches get the opportunity to do it. So, we're really excited with the chance to go over there and try to build something and make it special.
We're talking with the newest head coach at the first ever head coach at Bentonville West High School in Arkansas, the former Macalester head coach. Coach, let me ask you this. What's your favorite memory at Macalester? You've obviously led the team to a state championship appearance in 2013, several appearances in the 5A semifinals. What's your best memory at Macalester?
I've been asked that several times, and obviously probably the best memory is just getting to watch this. It's kind of turned into a monster. Watched it grow into a team that we took over in 2008 that was struggling and end up being the type of program that when you talk about 5A football, the name comes into it. So obviously that was something to be proud of. But I'm selfish in saying that the most enjoyable thing I done was get to coach my son, and he had a lot of success and got to have him be a part of something special to me and something that we'll never forget.
And, Coach, we'll get you out of here on this. Being able to start a program and put your stamp on just about everything is very intriguing. But you talked with me on Monday night about a little bit of reluctance with the whole new school type thing. Talk a little bit about the reluctance at first and how quickly that evaporated the more they talked about it.
You talking about the actual hiring process of it?
Yes.
Well, actually, I was in the final two for the Bentonville job. The Bentonville school will operate as Bentonville High School only one more year. They've won back-to-back state titles. It's a great program. The facilities are phenomenal, and that's the reason I applied for it. Was the reason because it's a top-notch place, one of the best places in the country, and so I made it to the final two of those. And obviously, as you look back on it now, it's probably a good thing for me that things happened the way they did because they're back-to-back state champions. They've got all their staff coming back and wanting to stay there, and a new guy coming in wanting to do things different might be a little bit difficult. So they hired their defensive coordinator, and Coach Grant's a great coach, and he'll do a great job with the program. and they actually weren't supposed to hire the head coach for West for quite a while next year about this time, and so they went ahead and felt like that it was the best thing for them to that I fit the mold for being the head coach at West and starting the program and getting to build it from the ground up, and so they talked to me a little bit about it, and obviously, some things had to fall into place, but all that did, and so now you're sitting here and you're the new and only head coach at Bentonville West, and we're excited to get it started.
Hey, Coach, always enjoy talking to you. Congrats on the new gig. Sorry to see you leave Oklahoma, but we definitely wish you nothing but the best in your new venture.
Well, hey, I'm not that far away, so I still
right.
expect a phone call every now and again to get a little coverage on the Sports Channel.
Well, absolutely. We'll do that. Coach, congrats on the new gig, and enjoy that spring game.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That is former McAllister head coach Brian Pratt joining us, taking over the Bentonville West program. And again, I mentioned Bentonville has had a history playing in Oklahoma, so I imagine Bentonville West might do the same, especially considering who the head coach is. Now joining us is the former Poto head coach, another coach here in Oklahoma, leaving for Arkansas. Greg Werner joins the program. He was hired earlier this week to be the head coach at Van Buren. Coach, first off, thanks for taking some time this morning to join us on the show. What led to your decision to leave Poto now and take over a Van Buren program in Arkansas?
Well, one thing for sure is, and I feel good about where we've left Poto. I think Poto's in a lot better shape, and they're poised for some great things there. So I felt good about where I've left that program, and I'm from this area near Van Buren, so this is kind of my stopping point and where I hope to be, and just a chance at Van Buren. Van Buren's a town with tremendous football tradition, and maybe fell on some hard times, but I definitely think there are plenty of things there that can make it happen.
Now, let me ask you this. You mentioned leaving the program better than when you found it, and you mentioned Van Buren has struggled a little bit. Do you take the same mindset that you did heading into Poto there, leading them to a championship appearance a couple years ago? Do you try to take the same approach headed to Van Buren?
Well, I think the blueprint's the same. I think it always changes a little bit with the school, but it's definitely a thing. I mean, I think we've got to make football important again. We've got to learn how to work and do all those things. But I think you do a lot of the same things, and hopefully it will work again. But man, we got a great staff and a lot of great kids, so I think it's definitely in place.
Let me ask you this, Coach. We're talking with the newest head coach in Van Buren, former Poto head coach Greg Werner here on the OK Preps Roundup. What would be the best memory in your tenure at Poto? Obviously, you make it to the championship game a couple years ago in Class 4A, have a little bit of a Cinderella run to make it to the title game. I don't think a lot of people expected you guys to get there before the season, and you kind of shocked Class 4A making it there. Is that the best memory, or is it something else in the last couple of years?
I think, those are great memories, and I don't want to put they're tremendous memories, and beating Douglas to go to the finals and all those things were tremendous. My greatest memory are the kids and the relationships you build with those kids. I have been so blessed at Poto. I've had some great young men to coach, and they made me look a whole lot smarter than I was, and I just have great memories of the kids like Jace Pitchford and Roger Brashears and Austin Artsy and Jarrett Larimore, and I could go on, but that's my memory, is those kids who hopefully we had a good impact on their lives. I know they had a tremendous impact on my life, and going to miss those guys, but still keep in touch. But that's my greatest memory.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking some time this morning. We got to run because we got Kenny Evans coming up. This segment is almost a little bittersweet because we're seeing three really good Oklahoma high school coaches not only leave the state, but leave, go away for different programs. But we definitely wish you nothing but the best. Congrats on your career in Oklahoma, and good luck as you move to your new position at Van Buren.
Well, thank you, and we really appreciate the work you guys do for high school football in Oklahoma, and it's definitely tough to leave the state, but just thank you very much.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck going forward. That's former Poto head coach Greg Werner taking over a Van Buren program over there in Arkansas. Now joining us is the now former East Central head coach, now the defensive coordinator at Missouri Southern, headed back to the college game. Kenny Evans joins the program now. Coach, obviously a former NSU coach as well, spent the last several years at Northeastern State. First off, thanks for taking some time this morning to join us on the program. And I talked to you about this time last year when you were hired at East Central. At that time, did you think that you would ever entertain going back to the college game?
Well, I was really excited about the opportunity to coach in Tulsa in Tulsa Public Schools and to make a change. And I knew there was a possibility, but it wasn't something I went out and pursued or looked for. I had a couple of other opportunities to do some things back in the college game. Some of them were quite a distance away, and that's why I really wasn't that interested. But when Denver Johnson called, and of course I'm familiar with Missouri Southern and the facility changes they're in the process of making and have made so far, it really got me excited, and it's an opportunity I really couldn't pass up.
Hey, Kenny, it's Ben. How are you?
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Doing good. Thanks for joining us. This last year, kind of ironic, being the head coach of East Central, you went back to Doc Wadley, played the Tigers there. Now you're going to go back this year as defensive coordinator of Missouri Southern. You just can't stop going away from that place.
I know. They can't keep me off that field. That's,
I know you went as the high school head coach. How different is that going to be going in as a defensive coordinator with Denver and all those guys at Southern?
Well, I was 32 years in college, and most of it was as an assistant coach and as a coordinator. And so, the familiarity of doing that is there, and it's just that'll be the most important game that week, and that's I'm looking forward to each week, and coaching with Denver is going to be very exciting. He's such a quality person. I'm really excited about this opportunity.
We're talking with the newest defensive coordinator at Missouri Southern, former East Central head coach Kenny Evans, here on the OK Preps Roundup. I'm your host, Michael Knight, joined by Ben Johnson. Coach, let me ask you this, because we mentioned it in our first segment. East Central and the head coaching position has almost become a revolving door over the last several years, with new head coaches coming up nearly every single year. I think this will be the fifth different head coach in 5 years for East Central. Where is the program right now? Do you think the new head coach, is going to have some troubles because of all the uncertainty around the position, or is this a program that is going to have no problem adjusting to whoever the new coach is?
Well, that's one of my biggest regrets was it wasn't a planned deal. It wasn't something I pursued, as I mentioned, and to leave a great group of kids and an administration and some teachers and people there at East Central that have done so many things to get the whole school and the program in order. I think it's tough when you have change, but at the same time, there's some great talent there as always, and there's some great kids, and we feel like in the whole school system we've brought in a great discipline system. And those things are going to lend itself to whoever takes that job, and the talent pool will continue to be there at East Central.
Now, Kenny, you're on your way out, and so is Trayvon Cherry, and East Central's had a pretty good run here of quarterbacks. Who's going to be next in line to take the reins and lead the Cardinal offense?
Well, there's a couple of young kids that are there that we were going to look at this spring, and then, of course, one of the great athletes there, Landon Wolf, was someone that we'd also talked about because of his athletic ability, and he actually can throw the ball pretty well looking at for next year. And, of course, that's going to be up to the new staff. And but I know that there's some talent. Of course, there's some great receivers there, too, and Landon was one of them. And the biggest thing is there's some young offensive linemen that are going to be very good football players, and defensive linemen that are going to be very good football players over the next 2 and 3 years.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you taking some time this morning. And as I've said, with the last couple of coaches, Brian Pratt, who's leaving McAllister, Greg Werner, who's leaving Poto, we hate to see you leave the state of Oklahoma and leave the high school game, but you've definitely made it a little bit better in your year at East Central. And good luck, without a doubt, at your new venture at Missouri Southern.
Well, thank you. And the Oklahoma high schools, and particularly this area of the state, is going to be our home ground. We're going to be in the high schools a lot, and Denver Johnson believes in Oklahoma high school football just as I do, and so these coaches and these players are going to see us a lot from Missouri Southern.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, good luck in your next venture.
Thank you.
That is Kenny Evans, the newest defensive coordinator at Missouri Southern, leaving East Central without a head coach. They'll have their 5th head coach in a span of 5 years come this fall. You start with Travis Hill, Ben Bowling, who didn't make it to spring ball, Bobby Klink, who left to become the defensive coordinator at Broken Arrow, and now Kenny Evans leaving to become the defensive coordinator at Missouri Southern. So they'll have a 5th head coach in a span of 5 years. No idea on the timetable there. You have to assume that the athletic department at Tulsa Public Schools, Gil Cloud, Mick Wilson, they're going to move fast to try to get somebody in to that position before spring football rolls around.
Yeah, you don't want to go through May and that a certain time frame that you have and not get anything accomplished. So getting a coach in there is going to be imperative. And when I talked to Kenny, he was telling me that Missouri Southern's getting ready to start their spring football. And I thought that was kind of weird, but then I thought about it. They didn't have a head coach or a coaching staff, so they couldn't have done anything. So
right.
They're getting a late start on spring ball, so they might be doing it when high schools are.